Hey y'all, and welcome to the video. I'm Sally and I'm so glad you're here. In last week's video, I mentioned how with the start of 2021, I set the goal to read 24 books. Now, I've always loved to read, but over the last few years, especially while I was in college, that habit fell to the wayside because my priorities were elsewhere. But upon graduating, I decided I just wanted to double down and also make it a mindful priority to spend a little bit of time in each and every morning just reading a book. So with that, I hit my goal, passed my goal of 24 books with 2021 or in 2021. And there are 3 books in particular that kind of rose to the top and that I want to share with you because I genuinely believe there are 3 books everyone should read. So we're gonna jump right into it, but first, if you haven't yet subscribed, please do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button. It helps me out more than you realize. And also, if you like what you see here, give this video a thumbs up. Book number 1 at the top of my list is More Than a Carpenter by Josh and Sean McDowell. This is a book that I was given at the time of my high school graduation and I kind of skimmed through, but I never really dove into. For some reason, I rediscovered the book at the time of my college graduation and just had this feeling that I should dive into it full force, read it from cover to cover, and oh, I'm so glad that I did. This book follows the story of Josh McDowell, who was an atheist actively seeking to prove that God did not exist. Yet ultimately, through his studies of science, philosophy, as well as his own experience, he was forced to come to terms with the reality of God's existence. This is a book for anyone, not just people who consider themselves Christians. It's not propaganda, nor will it go over your head, but it offers an objective examination and will require you to think critically, all the while being an easy, digestible, and engaging read. The second book that I think everyone should read is The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry by John Mark Comer. This is one of those books that has absolutely taken the world by storm, and for good reason. Per the back cover, it offers guidance on how to stay emotionally healthy and spiritually alive in the chaos of the modern world. This book was recommended by Ashlyn Eaton, who if you have not yet found on YouTube and subscribed to, you need to go find right after this video. And I'm so grateful she shared because the practical applications have radically changed the way I live my life, particularly when it comes to rhythms of rest, renewal, simplicity, and presence. If you need more convincing, go check out my Instagram highlight called Hurry, where I actually go through and share my daily takeaways from the time that I was actually reading the book for the first time. That being said, I highly recommend that you go ahead and snatch up a copy for yourself. You seriously won't regret it. The third and final book on my list today is Just Mercy by Bryan Stevenson. I was a couple years late to the game in reading this book, but I am so glad that I picked it up and gave it the time of day because it's one of the most impactful things I've ever read, particularly when it comes to the society that we live in. I think everyone should read it because it's one of those books that in a way makes you more human. It builds compassion, and I think it breaks this paradigm that so many of us are unfortunately afflicted by, where we see the world in black and white with little comprehension even, and definitely little respect for nuance and for the complexity that lays underneath the world and just whatever it is we're looking at, considering, discussing, Just Mercy follows the true story of the author, Bryan Stevenson, as he is serving as a defense attorney for those wrongly convicted on death row. It will wreck you, and there are definitely parts that are hard to read, but it's absolutely worth it. It's one of those reads that you will just walk away having been touched by, and having read it, I definitely tell people all the time about these lessons that I have learned from the book. So that wraps it up. Those are the 3 books that from this year I think every person should read. I hope you will be inspired to pick at least one of them up, but ideally all three. And if you've already read any of these books, let me know in the comments what you thought and why they stood out to you. Also, feel free to let me know if there are any other books in particular that you would say everyone should read, and we can start that conversation. But as usual, thanks so much for watching. If you liked this video, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And until next time, bye y'all.